Hey, everybody. Hi, and welcome to another episode of Carmela's Wrestling Radio Relived. This is episode 109. Hi, Jeannie, my girl
Hi,
Jeannie here.
Carm.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, it's
It's
been a
been
rough
a
weekend.
rough since Friday. It's
Yeah,
been
yeah.
emotionally
It's emotionally, physically, mentally
yeah,
draining completely.
yeah, yeah.
We had an incident where one of the people we always say hello to, Debbie,
Or
she's our dear
Debbie.
friend. Oh, I love her
Yes.
to death. She is probably the sweetest, nicest person in the world you will ever meet.
Yes.
Ever, ever,
Ever.
ever. That woman doesn't have a bad bone in her body. Nothing. Nothing like me. But we're like, she's like a sister. Like I said before, blood makes you related, but love and trust and fidelity and that all makes you family. So she's our
Yeah.
family, and she had an
Yes.
incident on Friday where we talk every morning, and we weren't talking that morning. We couldn't get a hold of her, and it scared us. So my friend went to her house, and of course she has the screen door locked, so the key that we have doesn't fit the screen door, and we had to wind up calling the police for a health
Wellness.
wellness check. Yeah, health and
Yeah.
wellness check. Come to find out, God bless her. I'm always yelling at her to make sure she closes and locks everything, but luckily she had her sliding glass door unlocked for the first time, which was a blessing. They got in that way, and she had a slight stroke, and she was on the floor, and God bless her. She woke up like she didn't, she was unbelievable. They took her to the hospital. I went to the hospital. My friend Sandy went to the hospital. Our friend Ramon went to the hospital, and they're talking, and all of a sudden the nurse comes out and they're like, "Oh, she's, we gave her an emergency CAT scan, and they're taking her up to the OR right now." And I said, "Oh no," I said, "The ER, we're in the ER." And she said, "No, the OR." I said, "OR? Like what the hell?" And here she had a blood clot also, and apparently, thank you God, the officer, the cop, oh my God, I can't stop because I work with cops. Okay, the doctor that was there happened to be one of the best in the state, and he pulled it right out, got it right out. But ever since then, she has been recovering so nicely, like you would not believe it.
Yeah.
You would not believe. God bless her. She sent us a picture today. She's all smiling, and she's like, "I'm sitting in a chair like a queen," and I'm like, "Oh
Like
my
a
God."
queen. Yep.
Yeah, like a queen, like the queen that she is. And Debbie, we all want to say thank you for being our friend and for being there for us. And we pray that you're going to be perfect.
Yes.
I know you will. And Brian Trammell, God bless him, actually reached out and said hello to her. She was all excited. You know how she feels about Brian.
Oh
And
yeah.
yeah, everybody, she's so grateful that everybody's on board. Everybody's been there. Everybody is, like I said, it's family. So we love you, Debbie. We also want to say hello, my friend David. God bless him. Got into a pretty bad car accident during the
Oh
week.
no.
Also, yeah, the car is totaled, and he's going now for therapy, and he went to the hospital and all that stuff. And I'm like, oh God, I can't believe it. And then Daniela's not doing that great. She had to go for what they call a tilt table test, where they tie you to this table and they stand it up, lay it down, turn it sideways just to make you sick. But she may have to go do it again because she wasn't really able to do a lot. So we have that. We had David, we had uh, Debbie, and it's been crazy. I got up Sunday, I wasn't feeling good, and I'm like, oh dear God, this is like ridiculous. And then, of course, work, which interferes with everything. Uh, I had to go to work, and it's crazy, but it keeps you going. It just keeps you going. It really does. It keeps you on your toes.
It
Um,
does. And then the other thing I just wanted, since we're kind of giving updates or whatever, I haven't put this out on Facebook or Instagram or anything as of
okay.
yet. But my baby, my baby boy.
Oh,
Now my baby boy is 29, so you know.
yes, he's our baby
But
boy.
he got a job, a very good job in Florida,
Yeah.
and he loves Florida. I don't know where he got that from because I absolutely can't stand Florida. But anyway, nice place to visit. But I don't think I
don't
could
want to
live
live
there.
there. I know.
But yeah, so he's going to be moving next week,
Oh, I
middle to
know.
the end of next week, and as much as how proud I am of him and excited for him and so happy because he's following his dreams, I'm heartbroken because I'm losing my baby boy.
Well, you're not losing him. You're
But
not
I'm not
losing.
losing him, but I'm losing him from being only 15 minutes from me,
I know.
you
I
know.
know.
So, but I am so excited for him and a new adventure, and he's going to kill it. He's just going to
Oh
kill it.
yeah, he's a great kid, and he's
He
like,
is.
again, family. We're all family, and
Yeah.
we're going to see you guys this Saturday. And
Yeah.
I'm going to smack him in the head, and I'm going to tell him if he doesn't keep in touch, I will come down there and I will beat his ass. Period.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
You and me both.
yeah, exactly. We also want to say hello to our regulars. I want to say hello to Douglas. God bless you. Douglas has helped me out a lot with the wrestling. Of course, Chuck Langerman. We can never ever forget him. Michelle, God bless you. Thank you so much. She reached out to me and asked if there was anything she could do or anything that we needed. A few people from Facebook did that, and our listeners. And I really, really appreciate that. You have
Yeah.
no idea how hard it is when, you're in a situation like that. And it's difficult. It's difficult, but we're doing it and we're getting it done. And like Jeannie says, we're killing it. And both of us have a lot of stuff going on. Also, I wanted to say, who else do we need to say hello to? Oh, Dave Shapiro. We need to say
Dave
hello to Dave Katz.
Shapiro.
Trying to
Mike
think.
Ferreira.
Mike Ferrero, Michelle Journey. We need to say hello to Bay, our baby Bay.
Bay.
I want to say special hello to Joe Mason. He is a journalist for Donnelly Media, and he did an interview with me yesterday. What a great guy. What a great guy. And he actually listened to all of Wrestling Radio, the original from its
Well,
inception. He said he didn't miss
yeah.
one little episode. So I was real
Awesome.
grateful to him for that. And let me see, we are working towards WrestleMania now. Okay. Um, here's the thing, and everybody's going to be upset about it, but it's not over. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Our
Nobody's
Genie,
going to be upset.
yeah, they will. Stop it. I
No.
am. Our Genie's going to be leaving us for a few weeks. Our friend Rich Schwartz is going to take her spot for
Yes.
about 5 or 6 weeks, leading up to and right after WrestleMania. We're going to do the promos, the updates, the AEW, WWE, all that stuff. And Jeannie is not a fan of doing that, so she wants to
Well,
take a
it's
little
not that
break.
I'm not a fan of doing it. It's with I don't really know what's going on. But I'm sorry, this laptop just keeps okay. It's I don't know what it is, but I'm just not invested in wrestling right now. And I don't know why.
And that's okay.
It's so I haven't been watching anything. And I see updates and what happened and things like that. And that's fine. I just don't know. I'm not going to be able to contribute to what, we're Rich, he's, got everything clued in. So he'll be a much better person to do this and, kind of go over everything. Because like I said, I don't know what it is. I'm just in a mood of not caring about wrestling right now.
Aw.
The new stuff.
Yeah.
Obviously I love the old stuff and I'm always
Right.
into, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I'm just not invested in it right now.
Okay. Well, that's all right. You have a right.
And I feel bad.
Nah,
but-
don't feel bad. I unfortunately eat, sleep, and dream professional
Right.
wrestling, so that'll never go away. But I am also want to say hi to Joel. I talked to him the other day.
Hey, Joel.
Yeah, he called to see how Debbie was as well. And Rich fitting off. We're going to get him on the show one day too.
Oh,
And
good. Yeah,
yeah,
I'll be
we are
back for
one of these
that one.
days. Yeah,
Definitely.
definitely. Because talk about stories, we got stories up the wazoo to tell with him. And so, after that, after WrestleMania is over, we're going to do a tribute to Ivan Putski. We're going to do a tribute to Andre the Giant. We're going to do other tributes, maybe a tribute to China. We want to do things like that. We want everybody involved. So if you have anything you want to, contribute, anything you want to send via email, the email is at the bottom of your screen right now. We're going to have Joe Mason come on. He's going to be a part of one of our shows. We're going to keep going. We're going to just keep going, and we're going to blow this thing right out of the water. We're going to just keep going. But right now, it looks like Susan is having a hard time getting on. So I'm going to pause us for a second, and I'm going to go get my phone because she may be trying to reach out to me right now. So just hold your horses, everybody. I'll be right back. Okay, everybody, we're back. The issues have been resolved with our friend Susan Tex Green, and we're waiting for Vicki Otis to come on. So, Miss Tex, how are you?
I'm doing great. I'm glad the weather's straightening up.
I know.
Yes.
I am too. Believe it or not, although I like the cold weather, I absolutely feel better right now. You look great. You really do. You look awesome.
You do.
Absolutely. We're going to ask you. I want to keep putting you on the spot. Is there any way that you're going to be coming around this area anytime?
Not, I've got some deals in the making, but they haven't guaranteed.
Okay,
Yeah.
that you might be in the East Coast, like up here.
Yeah.
Ooh, when you find out, you have to let us know for sure.
And definitely.
Good. Okay. Well, while we're waiting for Vicki, we have a friend, and I know you probably see him on the Facebook comments. His name is Chuck Langerman. I don't know if you've ever seen him. Okay. He's an excellent guy. He's such a good fan. He's an amazing listener. He's a good man. Anyway, every time we have a show now, he sends us questions. So we have a ton of questions for you and Vicki. So if you don't mind, we're just going to get started while we're waiting for Vicki, okay?
With me.
Okay, you're doing Vicki, right, Jeannie?
Yes.
Are you doing text? Okay, here we go. Susan, I heard when you were 14 years old and in high school, your parents met with then Texas Governor John B. Connally and signed a release to allow you to wrestle on the weekends as long as it didn't interfere with school. How did that all come about with your parents meeting the Texas governor? And how old were you when you actually had your first professional match?
Okay. Quick answer. First professional match was at 15, on my 15th birthday. In order to wrestle in the state of Texas, you had to have a license. And I wasn't old enough to have a license. They considered it, I was going to be a child labor. And so my parents had to go before the governor of Texas to assure him that it was not a child labor, that it was my love for the sport, that he ended up signing up with the wrestling commission so I could get my first wrestling license.
That's crazy. You know how hard it would be today to have an audience with the governor? And back then, it was just like that, right?
Yeah. Joe Blanchard made a few calls and
he sure did.
got it set up.
Wow.
And
that's pretty awesome. And he said it was okay to let you wrestle, and the rest is history, right?
Yeah, he said it was fine, and because my parents assured him that every penny that I made would go into a savings account. And
that's good.
His office actually called a couple of times, and my parents assured, sent them pictures of my savings account, or sit there and said they had access to the bank to show that my money was going into a savings account.
Now, your money had to be in a savings account till you were 18, right? And then you could take it out and do whatever you wanted.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. That sounds really cool. Okay. Question number 2. You were trained by the legendary Joe Blanchard. and had Blackjack Mulligan as your training partner. My question is, what was your pro wrestling training like? And what was Joe's son, Tully Blanchard, and was Joe's son, Tully Blanchard, around at all during your training?
Tully was not around at all during the training. And that he was extremely mad at his dad because his dad said he had to go to college before he'd let him get into. He could referee, but he could not wrestler until he finished college.
Wow.
Me and Bob, as I would say, which is Blackjack,
right?
We thought we were at the gates of hell with our training. It was because back in the 60s, late 60s, 69, there was no air conditioning. We was in an old warehouse building they turned into the sportatorium there in Corpus Christi, and they wouldn't even pull the doors up. Here it is, June, and his son beating down on this metal building that had no insulation in it, and Bob was coming off of being pro football, so they could sit there and he could lose a few pounds. But here I am, 112 pounds, and they're telling me to put on weight. And I said, I was melting inside that building.
Oh my God.
But our first thing we did was run 5 miles, and you had to be able to run 5 miles within 30 minutes.
30 minutes? Wow.
Not even at 15. I couldn't. No. Nope.
I was never able to do that. Ever. Huh.
All I could think of is as long as I could keep Bob in my sight, that I'd be able to make it, because he was used to running, playing football. So
wow.
Joe, being retired pro football player, he always gave the football guys a chance in wrestling if they wanted it. So but Bob, whenever we'd get back to the building after running the 5 miles, I sit there and said, we'd get up in that ring, and it's like, can we get some water? It's like, you better, we can have water, but I said it poured out of us because of us sweating so bad.
Yeah.
But we'd have to get up there and there's actually 4 different styles of landing, taking a bump, and we had to be able to do 100 4 different ways.
God.
But it was, where you flip like you're taking a hip toss, and then you're falling back like you're getting a clothesline, and then you're landing on your belly.
Wow, you had to do these things 100 times in a row, and then the next move 100 times?
So you took 400 bumps before he ever got you up there to show you a hole.
Wow.
The faster you got that done, the quicker you could start learning wrestling.
Oh my God. How many times did you feel like your back or your body was going to break doing it that many times?
The first day, it was the second day that you went in that you thought you was going to die, because I said when I was rolling out of bed, it's like I had to pick my head up. I didn't want to get off the pillow because my neck. You don't realize how heavy your head is until you do that.
That's crazy. I wonder if it's the same kind. If this training today is similar to that. Do you think it's more grueling, less grueling? Do you think they have to do stuff like you had to do?
No,
I didn't think so. They do. I know they do bumps and stuff like that, but it doesn't. I don't think it's anything like you were just saying.
No, they don't emphasize the bumps. Nowadays, and in the training centers, they have cables and all that for them, and they have the balls that they flip into and to where they can get flipping off the top rope and all that done, and to where hopefully when they get coming off the top rope that they're able to make those flips.
Wow. I understand what you're saying, because I've seen them where the mats are real heavy and they look like mattresses. They're so thick, and they do have the balls, and they have a lot of protection. I'm wondering if that's why a lot of the current wrestlers get hurt so much more than they did back then.
I'm going to say yes, because like whenever I train somebody, you know, if they can't do the, and I only make them do 25, you know, so they only have to do 100 in total. But I said, the first
Wow.
time I see you hit the head, you know, if I see your head bounce off the mat, I said, training's over for the day.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to let you get a concussion on my watch. You know,
Exactly.
so, but I give them exercises to go home and do. And then I said, you know, you sit up your chin to your chest and you fall back, you know, and slap the
Yeah.
mat or slap the floor. And that gets you used to holding your head up.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's an easy go home practice. And I sit there and said, when they come back, you know, I know who did it. I know who didn't do it.
Right, because you could see how they performed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. I can't believe it. I got to repeat this again. I can't believe that you did for training 100 times, 4 different moves in a row. You did 400 bumps in a row before you were to even be considered to have a hold.
Yep.
Oh
And
my
the first hold
God.
you learned was referee's position.
What was it? Referee's position? Get out. Really?
That was the first thing Joe taught you. And I
Wow.
said, you
And
went
you had to
back and
go
forth.
through all that stuff just to get into a referee's position.
Yeah.
That is crazy. That is very crazy. Wow. Oh my God. God bless you. Okay, let's go to the next one. In 1972, you participated in the second ever women's wrestling match held at Madison Square Garden against the Fabulous Moolah. What do you remember about that match, and what effect did it have on your career?
uh, that Madison Square Garden wasn't as big as I thought it was going to be.
Okay.
Uh, and that when you walked out, you couldn't see any of the people because of the reporters and the photographers.
Mm-hmm.
Apron of the ring in a regular mat in a regular ring is only like foot wide. At
Okay.
Madison Square Garden, you know, it was about 2.5, 3 foot wide. You know, that way the cameramen could lay their cameras up there and uh, they could get the shots they wanted to get without getting the ropes in their way
Right.
of the picture. Uh, it was, I guess, a big deal because it was Madison Square Garden. I was more impressed and more shell shocked from the Cow Palace than I was Madison Square,
Were you
because
really?
you
Wow.
had to walk from, you know, at Madison Square Garden. Like I told Rhonda Singh when she said, I said, you know, Rhonda, we wrestled in places that had more people than Madison Square Gardens. We've been in baseball fields, football fields. We've been in arenas around the world that
Right.
you know. At Madison Square, you come out from under a tunnel and you got about 40 feet and you're in the ring. You know,
Yeah,
and
that's true.
you know they had to you barricaded off to where, you know, it was mainly reporters and camera people that you was walking through to get to the ring. At the Cow Palace, you was coming from one end of that arena to the middle of that arena.
Oh, wow. Okay.
We didn't have any security, and the people were walking up to you, getting autographs, and you're signing autographs walking.
Yeah. Okay. I've seen that before too. Yeah, they did that at the arena. That's crazy. How did it feel? How did that match go with Mula? How did it feel being in the ring with her?
Uh, since I didn't wrestle her, and this is what everybody's shocked about, I didn't wrestle her that much. I mean, she was the booker for the female wrestlers,
Mm-hmm.
and I was for 9 years. Uh, but I was the hellion or the rebel. Uh, you know, if y'all wasn't in the ring wrestling, I was going to be working somewhere. You know, which I drove a wrecker for her
Well, now
boyfriend.
I know you did. You told us that. We're going to go back to that for a minute, but I wanted to because was this match in the garden with Mula? Was it while you were still under her, or was it after you had already broken away from her?
I was still under her. Now, this is going to be the shocker. Uh, one of the reasons that Wendy Richter left because she had the Madison Square Garden show with Moolah. I don't know if it's WrestleMania or what it was, but she had wrestled Moolah at Madison Square. and she only got $6,000. Well, the girls had been there a dozen times by the time, more than that.
Right.
I mean, we had tag teams and everything else come in there after 72 because Vicki Williams was the first match, just a couple of months ahead of me. And I only made $200. And I was the 27th match out of 30.
Wow.
I got,
how much money did you make?
100.
Wow, that's crazy.
Wendy Richter was one of the first matches to go out there whenever she wrestled Molly. She was 7th or 8th match, and she was pissed off because she made 6,000.
Wow. Now, did the standings in the lineup where you were, did that affect your salary at all?
Normally, yes, it does, because I was, we were considered main event.
Right.
San Martino was 2 matches after me.
Oh, wow.
But I have no idea what they were making. He was wrestling a superstar Billy Graham.
Oh, he probably made a lot.
Yeah, I'm sure he made but and did I make $200, or is that what Moolah gave us?
Yeah.
But I sit there and say, with today's girls wrestle for $10,000 a year, and do and the only thing they get paid is their airfare, and if they're overseas, the motel. But if they're here in the States, you picked up your own motel and food and paid your own transportation.
I know, that was crazy. That's why we'd like to tell these stories, because again, I don't think people get that. Today, the women, I don't know exactly how much they make, but the women today, no matter where you wrestle, you get hotel, you get, I believe you get food, you get, health insurance, you get a flight. A lot of them have their own agents that are also working for the organizations. I mean, then back then when you guys were wrestling, it was like literally horrific what you were wrestling, the conditions that you were wrestling under. But that's the thing though, but people like you who wrestled that way so many years ago, that was real love. Okay. That was love for wrestling. Today, I think it's love for the money. It's love for being in the spotlight. It's love for being popular. It's not like it was years ago. Back then, it was, no, I want to wrestle. I want to be a wrestler because I love wrestling. Nowadays, it's a whole different ball game. But back then, it was like, you suffered a lot. And when you got hurt back then, unless it, like today, it's a fluke if you get hurt. But when you got hurt back then, you got hurt. Okay.
And whenever Charlotte got her ACL tore and had to have knee surgery in 9 months, 10 months, she rehab and all that, I said, my ACL was torn. If I didn't wrestle, I didn't get paid.
Exactly. Now, see, I want to talk about that because that's crazy. Charlotte was out for 9 months. Okay. Not only was she out, she was getting paid while she was out. Her contract was still active. She was still had her health insurance. She still had, and here you tore your ACL and wrestled with a torn ACL because like you said, if you did it, you wouldn't have gotten any money. This is, again, understand people. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? This is the difference between back then. That's why we like to talk old school. And now, that's why back then it was the love of wrestling, not the love of popularity, not the love of being up front in the spotlight, not the love of the money, because they certainly didn't get paid a lot of money, but it was the love of wrestling. And these people had to send money home. And the little bit of money they got, they still had to send home. And that's crazy, because now you understand why when I was little, my mom and dad, and then I took over, we brought the wrestlers to our house and let them stay with us. They ate with us. They stayed with us, because back then, where were they going to go? Really? It's not like today, you were lucky if there was a hotel around that you could even afford.
Yeah. In the car.
Yeah. In the car. I was going to say, how many times did you sleep in the car?
More than I can count.
Oh my God, I can't. And then, oh God. And then there's things that we take for granted every day. Where do you shower? Where do you go to the bathroom? Where do you eat? what, you don't even have the toiletries with you that you need. You just make shift. You come up with what you need to do. That's what we like to talk about, because I know it was tough on you, but look at you. You are an icon in the business. Susan Tex Green's name will always ring bells. It'll always make ears and heads turn, because you have created a legacy for yourself that is unbelievable. We talk about you all the time, even on some of our other podcasts, about how, at your age, you still train wrestlers, and you still do what you're doing, and you still, like, you just travel like all over the place to go and do what you have to do, and how many people that you're still introducing to the business. I know now that you're injured. Are you still injured, Sue?
I'm good to go.
Oh, are you really? Are you going to go
Yeah.
back to training now?
Oh yeah.
Now, have you started back yet?
I haven't started them back. They're coming up with their money to start.
Okay. Okay. That's awesome. Now, is the school near, is it in your home, near where you live? Where is your school? Where is your training?
In my backyard. I call it my gym, and everybody else says it's a barn. So.
Oh my God. You know what I would love to do? Seriously, one day I would love to come up there and actually do a podcast from that barn, that backyard, and watch how these wrestlers, learn. I mean, it's crazy. Do you ever hear any of the young people, or any of the people that you train, say anything like, this is crazy, why can't I wrestle, or train the way they wrestle in WWE or AEW? Does anybody ever complain?
Yeah. Yeah. I said I'm training them to be wrestlers, and I'm not training them to be acrobats.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
One of the guys that I trained, that's with WWE ID, I think it's called now, Sean Legacy.
Right.
He does flips, and he had that ladder match with whatever the guy was that went up the ladder. But he did a flip off the turnbuckle, and had a ladder laying from the ropes to the other ladder that was going up, and he misjudged, and I don't know if he broke his nose, but the next day it showed where he had skinned his right at the bridge of the nose. It took a chunk of meat off of him.
Oh, that's gotta hurt. That's gotta
So
hurt. That's
he kept
crazy.
going. I sat there and told him, I said, before, whenever we was training, he'd sit there and said, got to catch my breath. And I said, we're in the middle of a match. You can't catch your breath.
Exactly. I mean, yeah, that's crazy. Like, how do you, how do you explain to somebody like that, that you can't, you got to keep going. There is no break. There is no stop. There is no rest period, and I bet you they feel like, I guess some people feel like during a training, it's okay to stop and take your breath. But then if you do it during training, you're never going to be able to do it during.
Yeah, that's what, whenever I had one of my last guys, he went to get, he told his son to throw him his water, had a bottle of water, and I sat there and said, and I slapped the water in midair. And I said,
Did
when
you
the match
really?
is over, when the match is over, we'll drink.
Wow. I love you. I absolutely love you. You know that you are like my pride and joy. Okay, I have another question. In high school, you were a very good tennis player. This guy does some good research, right?
Yep.
And swimmer, leading the Alice High swim team in Texas to the district title and earning a scholarship offer from the University of Texas. You turned it down to go into professional wrestling while still in high school. Looking back, do you regret at all the fact that you didn't go to college?
No.
No, you did what you wanted to do.
I saw the world. I did exactly what I did, and have no regrets.
That's awesome. No regrets. Look at that. I mean, do you think that if you would have changed your mind when you started and decided, I can make more money, finishing school, going to college, going on, I can make more money doing that. Do you think that you would have regretted not staying in wrestling?
Yeah.
Wow.
Staying and going to college, I would have been a physical educator, so I'd been in PE, where would I got to go? What part of the world would I got to see? You know, I've probably seen all the United States.
Yeah.
But when I was still a kid, you know, my mother and father, you know, they took us on 2-week vacations every summer, and
Wow.
I saw from Texas west. I'd seen all of it, you know, the Grand Canyons, the Yellowstone, you know, Mount Rushmore, you know. So you know, my parents had took me on vacations, but they weren't going to be able to take me to Japan or Australia or New Zealand and
Yeah.
you know, Europe. So
Out of all the places that you visited, if I had to say right now, Tex, I want an answer right now. What was your favorite place that you visited?
Christchurch, New Zealand.
Say that again.
Christchurch, New Zealand.
Really? Christchurch, New Zealand?
Hmm?
Why?
Black sand beaches, and basically the black sand is from the lava from the volcanoes.
Wow.
And just the people were. I guess they reminded me more of the Texas people, where you don't find a stranger.
Okay.
They were all talking and wanting to get to know and wanting to show you places and stuff that they had there. Where a lot of places, you know, and in Tokyo, it was hard as hell to get to the Tokyo Dome. And I said, we're right downtown, and it wasn't that far away. But getting somebody to understand English and it's one of those over there. It's like, I know they understand you, they just don't want to.
Oh yeah, yeah, I get
And,
that. I get that. So now in Texas, everybody's your friend?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
you don't meet a stranger there. When I can not be home for 5 or 6 years, and when I hit Houston, it's almost like they got radar on me. You
Really?
know,
Wow.
they know I'm coming.
That's great. Okay, now since we may not have Vicki on here tonight, it looks like she's having some difficulty. Tell us how you met Vicki.
2013, the Gulf Coast Wrestlers Reunion in Mobile, Alabama. She came in and she was doing a taping going to do a video of wrestlers of all the women.
Okay. I got to cut
And
you off for 1 minute. Vicki's calling. I'm going to pause the show for a minute so I can answer the phone. Hold on. Okay, here we are. So, tell us. Okay, you met her. That was a wrestling reunion.
Wrestlers Reunion, Gulf Coast Wrestlers Reunion, which it was
Okay.
Gulf Coast Pro Wrestling, which was ran by the Phils and all. So the promoters, whenever they shut down in '80, he started having a barbecue and having whatever wrestlers could show up. In back, well, I started in '8. No, I started in 2000. But in the '80s, when he shut down, he started doing this reunion. And the first time they only had like 12 people, all wrestlers, and you had to be a wrestler, a referee, the spouse of the wrestler, referee.
Mhm.
You had to be associated to wrestling to be able to come to this reunion. It ain't like a fan fest, and you don't, you know, it's like we all get together and see who can tell the biggest story, you know. And
Oh, that's nice. Was there
so
So you
anybody
didn't
cool?
know Vicky back when you wrestled. She didn't. You got your paths didn't cross with when you both wrestled.
yeah, when you know, she came to Mula's after I'd already left.
Okay.
So hopefully when she gets on, we're going to get some stories from her. But I know you spoke to her and she had agreed to talk about Mula and her experiences with Mula. So we're going to try and get her to talk about it. We didn't
Well, I
talk.
believe she did a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
When
Yeah, we
had
didn't
her
talk
on.
too much with her.
Yeah.
About that. We talked about a lot of other things, which were very interesting. And also now she's got a book coming out. I haven't, and I know this is my fault. I haven't learned yet how to put a picture up while you're on screen. So I have it behind me and I'm going to fix it. I'm going to learn how to do it. It's just been crazy. But I got to tell you, if I had met you back then, like we did with all the other wrestlers, man, you'd be at my house having dinner with us. We'd be hanging out. Like, oh my God, we'd be having a blast. Like, I cannot imagine. And I've never met you in person. That's the thing. I've seen you wrestle. I've talked to you multiple times. But I've never actually met you in person, which is on my bucket list. I don't have a big bucket list. One thing on my bucket list is to go to Alaska. Another thing on my bucket list is to meet Tex, man. I got to. Jeannie, we're going to have to take a road trip out to the Carolinas and go meet this lady because it's so worth it. I want to meet you in person in the worst way. You have made such an impact on me and Jeannie. And I believe a lot of our fans remember everything you say, which is awesome. Okay. You were not afraid to talk. You're not afraid to say who you are. You're not afraid to say what you've been through. You're not afraid to say what your lifestyle is like. You're not afraid to say anything. And I admire that. I respect that more than you can possibly imagine. It took a lot for you to do these things. And I remember you talking to me about it and saying that you were grateful that we let you speak your piece on the show. But why wouldn't we? I mean, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Did you ever have any trouble in any other interviews of not being well received?
I've had them say that they'd rather skip that part of your life.
Oh, really?
No, it's my life. Why not?
Exactly. Hold on. She's calling again. Hold on. Okay, here we are again. I was talking to Vicki Otis, God bless her, and the time change really affected a lot of people. It really did. And she said that she had a podcast at 2:00, and because of the time and all that, she just forgot all about it, didn't do it. And she couldn't find the link that I sent her. And we're like almost an hour in now. So I told her we're going to reschedule and we're going to have her and Susan back again sometime after WrestleMania. But in the meantime, we have so much to talk about anyway. So Vicki, we love you and we will get you here. Don't worry. Yes. But anyway, go ahead. You were finished talking. Finish what you were saying. I'm sorry.
With some of the promotions, they sit there and they just are podcasting, skip that part of your life. And it's like, it's my life. Why do you want to skip it?
Exactly. Why would they want to skip that? I mean, if you have lived your life, you have lived it. How could you skip it? How could you just forget it? That's like saying forget you're Irish or Italian or white or black or Hispanic. It's how do you forget that stuff? It's who you are.
And whenever me and Vicki went to the Scott Till's wrestlers reunion there in Gatlin, Tennessee, it was strictly for the wrestlers and their spouse. And Cora Combs was there, and I introduced Vicki to Cora. She had never met Cora Combs, and later on during the party, was all walking around, and I sit there and said, I was talking to some of the older guys I knew, Eric Embry and all, and Debbie came and grabbed Vicki because I knew some of the guys that she didn't know or I'd never met. And he said, Mom wants to talk to you. And whenever she went over to Cora, it was funny because Cora asked her if I was her husband.
Oh my God.
He thought, what?
Did you ever bring anybody with you to any of those reunions or events? No. Is it because you didn't think you would be welcome?
I knew that there's very few that would welcome me. Or they would welcome me. They wouldn't welcome the other half.
That's crazy. But I mean, I know back then it was a lot more taboo, obviously, than it is now. But I just want to tell you, you're welcome here anytime. You can bring anybody you want and you can do whatever you want because that stuff doesn't mean jack to me. It's your life. It's what you do. And this is something about your life. When I was in school, I was raised on wrestling. I have loved wrestling. The only thing that's different between you and me is that I never became a wrestler. I fell in love with wrestling when I was little, and I loved it. It was part of me. Like Jeannie and I were just talking a little while ago, because she's not going to do the show for a few weeks because we're going to do updates. And another friend of ours is going to do the show with us. His name is Rich Schwartz. But I can't, like, I still have to watch it. I have to, well, because of the podcast too, but I have to watch it. I have to see what's going on. It's like, and it's true what they say. If it's in your blood, it's in your blood. You can't get rid of it. You know, how are you going to say, like, I learned that from Dominic DeNucci. Dominic, like, he never wanted to retire. He never wanted to. And I said to him, why? And he said, because he said, you wait till it happens to you. He goes, you love wrestling so much. He said, you wait. He goes, it's in your blood. You don't want to leave. You don't want to ever leave. And the fact that you get to a point where, and it affects me too, even though I'm not a wrestler, but it gets to a point where you can't do what you used to do before, or you can't do it as quickly or as often. It hurts. It does. It's terrible to accept that fact. But the fact that wrestling is in your blood, it just never goes away. It never leaves. And I used to get made fun of all the time when I was in school. You know, I used to get made fun of because of wrestling. A lot of the girls used to call. I went to an all-girl high school. Could you imagine that? 3,000 girls. I wanted to choke myself. Okay. Oh. But yeah, they all called me names. I mean, I was always overweight. We all know that. So it was always bad names. It was always, well, you're really a man. You must really be a man if you like wrestling. And I'm like, so what? What business is it of yours if that's the reason I like wrestling or not?
Yeah.
You know,
I as many times as I've been hurt and I've wound up in a wheelchair, and the doctors have sat there and said that I'd never walk again. And I sit there and said, you know, my dream was to get back in the ring. You know, it's like, you say what you want, but I'm getting back in the ring.
And you did.
You know, it's just like, you know, and one of the boys that I was training, after I got beat up and spent that 141 days in the hospital and come back from 6 months out of rehab, I'd been training them, and a couple of the guys that had keys to the gym, I said there and said, y'all can go out there and keep him taking bumps. You know, when I get back from Texas, you know, I'll take over. Well, I got back from Texas and I was on a walker, and his mother had come down from Walterboro, which had come up. It's like 100 miles away. And I went out there and they said, I said, it's just going to be me and you, Mike. And his mother said, can I sit here? And I said, sure. Well, I went, you know, crawling up in the ring, and I sat there and said, we're going to be doing elbow drops and leg drops. And I sat there and said, you know, I said, you remain. He said, okay. And I said, so there I am laying in the middle of the ring, and he started dropping it down and on elbows, and then I was laying there, and he dropped his leg across my chest and everything, or my neck, supposedly. And when I was just laying there and not selling it, his mother was all right. But I said the first time he dropped one and I started flopping around, his mother said, can I go outside and sit in that swing under the trees? And I said, yes, ma'am, sure. And whenever we finished, 2 hours later, she sat there and said, I thought he was killing me.
Oh my God. You were a good seller. That I'll tell you. I remember that. I don't, like I said, you are an incredible woman to me. You are an incredible wrestler. You're just an incredible person all the way around. And when I saw you wrestle in the Philadelphia Arena at the Spectrum, you know, when I was young, there was, like I said, there was just something about you from the moment you stepped into the ring with this whole cowboy getup thing. And I was like, all right, she looks good. All right. And then I saw you wrestle, and I'm like, wow, she's really good. And I'm telling you, you always stuck in my mind. And Jeannie, am I right? How many times did I say, I got to get a hold of Susan Green?
Oh yeah.
I got to get a hold of Susan Green. Always been in my head. Always. You are the epitome, in my opinion, the epitome of what a real, honest to God wrestler who has blood and guts in the business is, period. Bar none, man or woman, doesn't matter. You are, to me, just listening to you talk, you're 72 years old, correct?
Yep.
Okay. And you're still training men. Okay. You're still training people. You come back from every single illness, every tragedy, every injury, you come back, and because that's your motivation, like you said, in a wheelchair, no, I'm going to do it because I got to get back in the ring. When that's your mindset, that gives you the most incredible uh, um, get up and go, most incredible fortuitiveness to keep doing it, you know? And I think you are, again, you are the epitome of what, you know, people who look at, who want to be a wrestler should look at you. Do you have any videos of you training people?
I've got some VHSs. I might be able to get them downloaded to CD, or
Do you know
transferred
anybody that can do that for you? Because we might.
Yeah, I do know. I just got to call him and make sure
Okay.
he's.
If for some reason you can't, we know people who can digitalize it and make it so that it can go right on the internet, you know? So that's important, because it'd be so nice to be able to watch how you train people, and, you know, listening to
Well, if
what
it's on VHS, this is from 30 years ago.
Yeah, but you were training back then too, weren't you?
Right. Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. It's nothing recent.
No, I know,
Well,
but
Yeah.
I'll be getting. I can start setting it up to where I videotape some of the newcomers.
yeah.
I've learned. I used to let them make payments, and then they'd sit there and think, well, I'll get a match without her knowing it. Well, it's hard to get a match
Yeah.
and me find out about it.
No, you
Yeah.
got to do what you got to do. No, you do. But if you set up your phone, your cell phone, to video and just prop it up somewhere, it'll
Yeah.
keep recording for you. I mean, that'd be great, and you can send it to us. And when I finally learn how to do this, we'll put it up on our podcast, and we can show what your training is like with everybody. But I still can't believe how you began training when you were with Mulligan and Blanchard. Unbelievable. And Blackjack Mulligan did the same exact thing. He didn't
Oh
just let you do it. He did it too, right?
yeah, he was a newcomer. He was green as I was. He
Wow.
just didn't have the name green.
I can't, looking at him when he was an older wrestler, like, he was so tall and so big. And now that you're saying that, I don't picture him doing those things. But yeah, he was young, and he was probably a lot thinner and smaller.
He was 290 pounds.
When he was that young?
He
Well,
was
yeah, he
a
was a football player.
Oh,
football.
that's right. There you go. Yep.
And
But I can't believe he
he,
still did all that.
6'8". Bobby Shane was helping train us one Thursday, and Bobby Shane sat there and said, "Yeah, we're going to throw drop kicks," and it's like, and Bob says, "And what am I supposed to do?" And he sat there, and I said, "I'm going to hold my hand up, and you're going to hit my hand, because you'll be wrestling guys that are as big as you, and my hand will be their chest."
Oh
And
my God.
Bob was throwing drop kicks.
Wow. That's crazy. Now, Bobby Shane, that sounds so familiar to me. He didn't wrestle a whole lot though, did he?
Died. I think he was 27 when he died in the plane crash.
That name
He
is,
was.
I know that. Yeah, I knew that name. That's terrible. That's crazy. Let's go before we get close to the end of the show here. Let's talk a little bit more about Moolah. I want to go back a little bit, and I want to ask you if you're aware of the fact that, if I'm not mistaken, the WWE took her out of everything. Like, her name doesn't even come up anymore. Is that because of how she treated people?
Yes. They did take her name across because of Snickers was going to pull their sponsorship there at the
Okay.
WrestleMania, and then they said they had to get her likeness off the top of that trophy for that brawl or whatever, the 20 girl battle royal or whatever it is.
Yeah. Because they still have the Andre the Giant one, so it was going to be the Moolah one, and they took her
Yeah, it
off
was
of
going to
that.
be Moolah, and then they made her get the trophy off, and now it's the Mae Young.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's crazy. She had a heck of a reputation for all the stuff she did.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff she was blamed for didn't happen when I was there. I mean, you could drink. She was letting kids. I mean, her granddaughter was drinking when she was 8 or 9 years old when I got there. So, but it's one of those. She was dead set against drug use, and maybe it was because I wasn't there that I didn't get pimped out, because if I wasn't in the ring wrestling, there goes my cat. I was driving the wrecker. I mean, I made more money driving that wrecker than I did in wrestling.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's crazy. That is crazy, because I mean, again, people have this impression that wrestlers always got paid this exorbitant amount of money, and it's so not true. I mean, really, it's not true.
Debbie Johnson, Dottie Downs, Paula Kay, when she was on the road with me, she made pretty good money, but her lifestyle was like my lifestyle, and Moolah wouldn't book her because she couldn't look feminine. And I thought,
wow.
But I mean, they was making $3,000 a year. And I said,
$3,000 a year.
Yeah.
Even back then, how could you live on $3,000 a year?
Right. You were renting from her, so she's putting everything on the books. So every time you wrestle somewhere and you got paid, they'd send the money to her, and she'd sit. You never saw a check. She'd always had cash for you, and she'd sit there and tell you what she got her percentage, which was 30% back in the 70s, and I heard in the 80s she had dropped it down to 20. But
30% is a lot of money.
So you make $100, you only get 70 of it.
Exactly, that's a lot of money.
Hell, the first time I went to Japan, we only made $200 a week.
And was that because of her too?
Yeah, I mean that's what she said. We got paid, so they paid the motel and they paid the airfare. So, but we had to eat out of that money. And I sat there and said, of course, in Japan, unless you ate Japanese style, you went hungry. You couldn't afford to eat like you ate over here in the States.
Everything was expensive.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, all the American food was very expensive in Japan.
You sit there and say you want a steak, well, they give you this little 6-ounce steak, and then you're looking at for the salad or the potatoes and green beans, and well, you're going to pay extra for that.
Oh my God, that's crazy. What would you say? What would you say back then when you started wrestling? What was a decent salary back then
for the girls?
For somebody who earned a good wage, what would that be a year?
I was considered one of the highest paid girls, and I was making $10,000.
$10,000 a year.
My first year, in 9 months, I got the Moolahs in June 5th of 71. After I'd graduated, I went on the road that following Monday, which was about the 11th in Georgia, and I was wrestling there on out, and then Sandy Parker and I and Donna Christiantello and Tony Rose, we went on a 6-month tour overseas. It's where me and Sandy won the titles and tag team titles championships in Hawaii, and then we toured Australia and China and Hong Kong, and I don't know where else, India, I think.
Yeah.
And came back and dropped the titles back and to Donna and Tony in Hawaii before we came back home. Of course, in the books, it says it was wasn't classified as them dropping the belts, or it was unrecognized that me and Sandy won the belts.
Wow.
And I said, we were always told you do what the promoter wants, and that's what the promoter wanted. Jim Barnett was the promoter in Australia, and I sat there and said, he talked to Steamboat there and Lord Blair's in Hawaii, and they said, they'd go for it. So it was what they wanted, so we did it. And then, of course, Donna and Tony got cussed out and raised hell at, and it's like, well. And then, of course, Vince Sr. actually wanted me to take the belt in 72 from Moolah. And that's when she decided she had to tell my parents about what I was, and told Vince Sr., and it didn't think it would be a good idea because of my lifestyle for me to be the champion.
That's ridiculous. And it's horrible that it was like that back then. It really is. Is that though? That's not the time that you actually beat her in a
Oh
shoot
no,
match? Okay.
no. Japan, New York. It was before she really knew about me, and it was after we. It was right in the end of '72 when, believe it or not, Dara and Dagmar told on me.
Wow, really?
She told my parents, because if Dagmar was a squealer. Vicki Williams kind of told the stuff. Joyce Grable told what happened. But if you took them with you, it was okay. If they got to go party with you, they wouldn't tell on you.
Right.
So, but I sat there and said, if I sit there and said, hey, I can't take you with me, and I'd sneak off. Well, of course, I'd get back to the motel, and the next morning before we'd check out of the motel, I'd be getting a call that I couldn't be a barfly. And I thought I wasn't a barfly, but
That's crazy. That is crazy. Dagmar didn't had that look anyway. She looked like she was a mean person.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
horrible, horrible. But as it turned out, though, Mula got screwed in the end because your parents already knew. So she wasn't doing anything to hurt you.
No. She didn't hurt me. She just, I went on the road and I started driving a tractor trailer and working for Mildred Burke and still getting to do what I wanted to do, just not full time as much as I wanted. But Mildred did send me to Japan and she did send me down into Mexico. And the good part about it, I made more money going for one match than I'd make in a month for Mula. Mildred would send me down to Mexico for $1,200 for one match.
But what was it like? I'm sorry, go ahead, finish.
I was carrying Mildred Burke NWA Women's World Belt.
Wow.
And when I went to Japan, of course, when I was in Japan, they sat there and said, I was going to drop the belt, and I said, I didn't get the word from Stan Mushnick, and I didn't get the word from Mula or from Mildred that I was dropping the belt. And then does it, and I said, I'm not Mula. And of course, and back then it was Jackie and Chicha, and I sat there and said, if y'all can take it, go ahead and try. But you're going to have to actually beat me.
You go. I love you. You go. Let me tell you. What was it like being associated with Mildred Burke? Always hear good stuff about her.
Whenever she was having trouble with some of her trainees, and I'd be parked in San Diego, she'd send somebody after me, and I'd go into the gym, and she'd get in the gym. She'd get in the ring.
Wow.
And said, she wouldn't take the bumps like I did, but she'd take a snap mare and stuff. She took a body slam, and then for me to be showing them what to do, because I sit there and said they're having a hard time seeing somebody hook a small package from coming down from a body slam, and I sit there and I thought, she says, you get me up, I'll hook it. And I thought, okay.
Oh.
But I
and
said,
did she?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
If she said she could do it, and that she'd hook. And I guess a lot of my shoot stuff come with her too, because we'd be trying to show the people, selling and everything, and all of a sudden she'd be having me cranked up with an arm bar, and I'd be slapping the mat and wiggling around and everything and selling, and then I'd sit there and say, you're in a shoot, I'm in a work.
I love it. I absolutely love it.
Now, Susan, did you see the movie about her? The name of the movie is escaping me. I don't remember. Carmen,
Queen of the Ring. Queen of the Ring.
Queen of the Ring. Yeah. Did you see it? Did you like it? Not like it?
I parts of it I really like, and other parts is like, okay. But it is a good movie.
How realistic is it?
95%.
Really? Oh, now I gotta watch it. I didn't see it yet.
Yeah,
but I gotta watch it.
Well, because like with the Iron Claw, like I watched it and hated it.
That was awful.
Hated it.
Yeah,
hated it because it wasn't true. It wasn't
truthful at all, really.
I mean, absolutely. Overall, I guess it kind of was, but no, it just wasn't.
It wasn't Fritz that wanted them boys to wrestle. It was her, their mother.
What?
Really?
Oh yeah.
Wow. Look at that. I didn't know that.
Fritz didn't. Yeah. Oh, yeah. If she spoke, Fritz better be friggin' jumping and hoping like hell he got high enough.
Are you kidding me?
Wow.
Wait a
No,
minute.
and
I was under the impression, and my dad knew him. I was under the impression that he was the violent person. He was the
oh
demon.
no, he could be a demon away from her, but she was a Tasmanian devil.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Wow. That is crazy. This is going to lead us right into a whole nother show, Sue.
Yeah, and you wasn't allowed to come on that property. Well, female wrestlers couldn't go out there to that property at all.
Oh, okay.
Oh, because she didn't want them there.
No, they could be having something, and then going to do, and oh, I'm sorry you can't come, and it's like you just invited all of us. Y'all can't come.
Wow.
And I
Oh
thought,
my God. Would you
well,
be
why don't we
willing to do another show about this?
Oh yeah.
That's it, man. You're down. We're
Oh
down.
yeah, because that's yeah.
Ah, my God. I want to hear every little word. I want to hear everything you know. And I'm telling you, because we all are under the misconception that Fritz von Erich was Jack Atkinson was this horrific, horrible dad, that he always abused his children. He drank like a fish, and he preached the gospel but beat them at the same time. That's what we always
all
heard.
of that is true. It's just that the mother apparently was just as bad.
Oh, so he was bad.
Well, he was bad, but I don't. She probably caused him to drink.
Wow. I'm surprised. Wow, that's crazy.
Was whenever he was at home.
And losing as many kids as they did would make me go.
They lost every single one but one.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I would have lost my mind after the first one.
Oh, please.
Second one, oh, forget it. Yeah. So,
all right, we're going to cut it right here because I don't want to talk about anything else. I want to wait till we do a whole show about this. After WrestleMania, we're coming back, and we're going to do a show. We'll bring you and Vicki on. We'll talk about everything we want to talk about, and then we'll take a part of it, and we'll talk about the Von Erichs. That's going to be awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
Tex, I can't thank you enough. I can never thank you enough. I want you to know right now, in front of everybody who's watching and the whole world, if they ever get to see this, I love the shit out of you. I just want you to know that. I think you are.
Y'all,
and I don't know what the other, I don't want to jinx it. I got everything crossed, fingers crossed, legs crossed, toes crossed, eyes crossed. Like that, whatever possible event that you can get up here goes through. Positive vibes going out towards that happening.
Because, you know what? If not, Jeannie and I are going to have to take a road trip down there.
Yeah.
That's all. We're going to, and you know what? And we'll ask other people if they want to come and watch you train. I want to see you. I want to go out with you. I want to sit and talk to you. I want to hug you, and I want to see you train. That's what I want to do. All that in that order. No, not right. I don't want to hug you first. I want to give you a big hug and a kiss when I see you, and the cat.
That's Possum. Yeah.
What's the cat's name?
Possum.
Possum? How many do you have?
Ding. Special needs.
Wait a minute. How many cats do you have?
Ding. Special needs.
Special needs? Did you say 15? Wow. Yeah, but you know what? I'm not surprised. I'm not.
They're blind. They got respiratory problems. They got asthma.
Oh my God. Is there anybody better than you? Really? Is there?
I'd like to think so. Be hard to find somebody, I'm sure.
Do you take people with disabilities too?
I actually have trained autistic men.
No, I mean me. Can I come live with you?
Yeah. I do help.
I just want to come. I just want to come down. I just want to come. I'm coming. I don't care. We'll figure it out. We'll work it out. But I'm coming. Jeannie doesn't want to come with me. I'm going by myself. That's it. Done deal.
All right.
Well, thank you. Thank you again. I will be in touch with you and we will talk some more. But definitely after WrestleMania, we want you back. And I got to tell you, like I said in front of everybody, I love you. And I'm so grateful to call you a friend. Tex has been amazing. It has been amazing. And I'm honored to be one of the people that's allowed to call you Tex. Thank you.
Thank you for calling me Tex. That means we're friends.
That we sure are. And nobody better say we're not, because they're going to have to deal with me. That's right. Because then you haven't seen me fight. I'll probably just get knocked over, that's all. Years ago I could fight, not anymore. It's not like that. All right, well, we're going to take you off the screen. God bless you. I love you. And we'll be in touch.
You. Mwah.
Love y'all.
Bye. Love you. Oh my God. I love that woman. I just love her.
Right?
Story. Love her.
Yeah.
Love her.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
She
all
is
right,
just
Dollface.
amazing.
I know. I'm out. I got to go get something to eat and I want to sit down. My bones are hurting me. It's ridiculous. I want to call Debbie but anyway, I love doing this show and I love everybody who watches it and I love everybody who listens to it. And I love you, Jeannie. And I love everybody.
I love you more.
I love you most.
I love
and
have
most.
A great show with Rich the next few weeks and you guys are going to kill it. I will be listening.
Yes, you better. You better be.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely.
And I'm going to say hello to you every single time. And then you're coming back after WrestleMania, lady. Okay, I love you. And we'll see you in a few weeks. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.